The Grooms Early Screenplay Writing Contest, William Hovey Smith, 2020. I'm an author, and most of my 20 books have been on outdoor topics. But I do have one significant business book for the age, and that is Create Your Own Job Security. In this book, I advocate that everyone who needs a little money, like perhaps right now, start their own mini businesses or even full-fledged businesses as they need them, when they need them, and wherever they are, and whatever their age might be. This novel, screenplay, and book project is father of The Grooms, and this happens to be my first novel, and the first draft is available on Amazon, and we have written a screenplay. Now, this screenplay has been submitted to several writing contests, and what I'm reporting on here is the less than favorable results received from the first two, and what I'm going to do to correct them. This is Hovey Smith, the Backyard Sportsman, and I'm doing one of my monthly follow-ups on how we're progressing with our novel, screenplay, and movie project, Father of the Grooms. For those who are unaware, this is something that's been going on with me for approximately 5 years and included an investigative trip to Sicily. The general plot of the book and of the subsequent screenplay and movie is that there is a family of Sicilian origin that's lived in the U.S. in Louisiana for 3 generations. And Dad has decided that it's time for the family to make a trip to Sicily. They've been keeping in correspondence all these years, but they've never returned. But now, he's an older guy. He and his wife are retired. His 2 sons, one a Marine captain and the other an artist, happen to be home at the same time, and his gay brother, as well as his daughter, who works with his brother in his hairdressing salon, can also get away. So if they're ever going to go, this is the time to do it. So he writes and says, yes, we can come. And he hears from his cousin over there, all right, come ahead. And we'll arrange a lot of good things for you. Well, really more than they suspect. Actually, his 2 sons are either unmarried or between marriages. The captain's wife has just divorced him. After 8 deployments, she's had enough. She just can't take it anymore. So she is marrying a sanitary engineer from Baton Rouge. A shit shoveler, as he calls it. And his brother, Roger, got kicked out of the apartment he was sharing in San Francisco by his girlfriend because he never could pay the rent, or his share of it anyway. So they are sort of at loose ends. Well, they kid with their dad about, well, maybe they'd have better luck doing it the old-fashioned way. That is, with an arranged marriage. Well, he writes his cousin over in Sicily about this. Well, as it turns out, things in Sicily have not been going quite smoothly. The Don of the Mafia family has been arrested. His segundo has been arrested. And Luigi the Claw, the former enforcer, now heads the mob. And he is very anxious to get 2 young women, one his daughter and one his niece, out of the country because he fears there's going to be a mafia war. So he doesn't want these gals possibly involved or being used as blackmail or anything else against him. So when our American family innocently arrives in Sicily, they are informed that these 2 guys will marry these 2 gals that they've never seen or even heard of, and none of that family is going to leave Sicily alive. Whoa! Well, that comes as a bit of a shock. although there are some favorable aspects. The gals come with a dowry of 100,000 euros a year. Whoa. They're also very beautiful women. And these are handsome guys. Yeah? Well, maybe they can. So they're introduced, and the immediate problem arises as who is to marry who. These two gals are quite different. One is the wild child of the family, so he brought her home so he could put her under his thumb for a while. And she would go to school in Catania. Well, also in Sicily about that time, a very terrible vendetta killing occurs. Young David, a young, very attractive guy in his 20s, beloved by everybody, works in an ice cream shop, gets practically blown apart by a double-barrel shotgun over a vendetta about a stolen goat 200 years past. Woof. Well, these two gals decide that, yeah, this potential marriage opportunity sounds good. If the guys will have them, they'll go. So our group goes through their tour of Sicily in the days preceding the wedding. Well, somebody out there don't like it. So they are attacked several times. Nonetheless, to show the strength of the family, the wedding will continue as scheduled. These activities have attracted the attention of the AIA, the Italian Anti-Mafia Association, as well as the FBI in the U.S. And they have two guys in Sicily who are shadowing the operation, playing the part of limo drivers. So they're actually driving these people around the island and trying to find out what in the world's going on. Well, they do. And as it turns out, they have many close calls. They go and see some beautiful and interesting places. And ultimately the wedding does take place, and the family, through the aid of the agents who are actually shadowing them, managed to make it safely back to the U.S. So that's the story. Now, the novel is 440 pages long. Woo! Okay. That's a nice size novel length these days. The full version of the screenplay, as first written, was 126 pages long. Too long. All right. So we are now through iteration number 5, and it has had material added to it, and it's now down to 113 pages. And at this length, I submitted it to 2 script writing contests, and we have heard back. Well, I think I've written the world's greatest script. They didn't think so. No. Far from it, as a matter of fact. On a scale of 1 to 10, the various parts of the screenplay were evaluated, and as you see, they came across very poorly indeed. So, the first submittal went to Script Pipeline. Now, they have a program whereas they will take a green script and they'll look at it, and for money, of course, they'll review it and send you back a fairly detailed 8 pages or so criticism of it, and tell you what they think is right and wrong about it, and mine had much more wrong than right. Now, they did have some good things to say. They said the characters in the script have potential. All right. They said the plot is easy to grasp. All right, that's good. They say further development suggested. And you saw me thumbing through a number of pages. And that did not have favorable material on it, but suggestions as to what in particular I needed to do to improve the script. The main criticisms were that it was overwritten. I was giving camera shots and this sort of stuff, and they said, no, that's not wanted in a script of this sort. So those were cut out. The script was shortened. They wanted some improvements in dialogue, which I did some. And they also suggested some more radical changes, which we'll get around to in a bit. So, we made those changes in the script. We shortened it up, we tightened it up, and full of hopes, we took the first 10 pages of it here, and we sent it off to another contest, which promised a rapid result. Now, this is the Wiki Screenplay contest. Now, Wiki Screenplay is an interesting kind of organization. They'll do a full-length script evaluation, but the unique thing that they do is they'll look at the first 10 pages of the script, and they will rate and grade those 10 pages. Their premise is that a script reader is only going to read the first 10 pages. If he can't figure out what's going on in the first 10, he's apt not to read the rest of it. So he's just going to toss it. So they emphasize making a good impression on that first 10 pages. I did not. This is what Wiki Screenplay had to say about the first 10 pages of the novel. Well, they did have some favorable things to say. They did say, the first 10 pages succeeded at setting up a beginning for the main plots of the film. A conflict is established for each of the characters. Yes, conflicts were established, but these did not have to do with the main storyline. These were conflicts between the gals and the guys, and explained why all of a sudden guys in their 20s of marriageable age and attractive guys weren't attached at the moment. So that was a necessary thing I had to do in the plot. Okay. Now, saying about the characters as a whole. The protagonists of each of the storylines have clear and understandable motivations. Okay, well, that's good. The main cast of protagonists are extremely diverse. Well, that's an asset in modern films. But it falls upon the writer, me, to illustrate that diversity. And that is a much more difficult task. There are some details in the dialogue that help make the characters fit the settings. Well, I'm a military guy. I'm an ex-Army engineer. So I made my military characters sound sort of real. Positives. The film tells a wide range of stories and portrays a very diverse cast of characters. All right, yeah, that's sort of a summary. Final comments. There is a potential for this to be a very intriguing adaptation. All right, well, what did they find wrong with it in both cases? They claimed, both of them, that my dialogue was flat. My characters were not differentiated very well. In short, that one sounded very much like another. Both Wiki Screenplay and the Script Pipeline agreed on this point. And there were many mechanical things wrong with my presentation and writing of the screenplay. Now, in my previous 4 videos in this series, I've gone through the screenplay writing process that I did. And these included the preparation for the screenplay, the characters, sort of figured out who those were before I even started writing, the writing, the screenplay, and the marketing of it, which had to do with submitting to these screenwriting contests. So of version 5 of the screenplay, we've already submitted it to 3 other contests, 2 in Georgia and another in North Carolina. And we do not expect it to do very well. In the meantime, we're going to work on the script. So what do we have to do to meet these criticisms? One thing in particular, for the 10-page version, I have to get the action started much sooner than I do. In the book, I go through chapters with introductory materials telling about the characters that are going to participate. Takes too long. Need to get that information dealt with, but later in the script, and move up in the script some sections that tell about what this movie is all about. Them going to Sicily and having to get married, and how they're going to get out of it or do it, one of the two, and survive the process. So that's the thrust of it. But I've got to show some early indications of that are positively identifiable so we can carry through the rest of the script and have somebody read it. Okay. So, how do we do that? Can we do a cut and paste job on this existing script? Unfortunately, no. There's too much I need to change in the way of dialogue, in the way of action sequences, and the rearrangements of sections, use much more sophisticated flashbacks. How do I get the 2 guys to tell about their misadventures with their gals? Okay, we're going to let them go down in the rec room and have a few beers and chat it out. So we're going to solve that way. And that way we'll introduce those backstories. Okay, so we'll solve that problem. And then we can move on with the rest, with their going to Sicily and the rest of the novel. So, what else are we doing? I am an outdoor writer, and I'm interested in outdoor subjects. So I have books like Backyard Deer Hunting, and Practical Bow Fishing, and down here on the bottom, Extreme Muzzleloading. And of course, this is a rather formidable muzzleloading gun in front of me. One I built, by the way, expressly for this project. One of the characters is going to take this on a boar hunt in Sicily and kill a boar with it. This knife is to be used by Luigi the Claw. He has a fondness for edged weapons, and he uses this as a weapon of intimidation. And you can see very easily how it might be so. And this stainless steel 1911 and 45 ACP is also used and issued to our 2 informants by none other than the mafia themselves, because they think they're their guys. So all these play a part in the forthcoming movie when it gets that far. But first, we've got to get this screenplay in better shape. I'm going to hunt with a muzzleloader, and we're going to kill game with it this fall, and we'll have more episodes about it doing its job. The 1911 has already taken game in the way of a coyote, and believe me, if you shoot a running coyote with a 1911 and you get him dead with 1 shot, you've done some reasonable shooting, guys. So, okay, we're off and we're running again. Bad to have to restart this thing. But rather than flogging a dead horse, or one that would never make it, yeah, better to stop and start again. But now this is Hovey Smith, reminding you to hunt what you eat and eat what you hunt. Be legal, be ethical, be safe. Goodbye, God bless, and see you next time, and see you in the movies. If you wish to submit to Wiki Screenplay or Script Pipeline and participate in their various evaluations and contests, here is how you contact them. As a geologist, engineer, and writer, I like organized stuff. And that's exactly how I wrote the screenplay. Unfortunately, this is not very true to life, and that's what both evaluations said, and these are quite valid criticisms. My training helped me establish a believable plot line by bringing in all the needed elements to make the script work, and this I did. My settings of the movie are also appropriate, interesting, and offer excellent filming. Although, during this era of coronavirus, we might not be able to do that for a while. For more information on my development of the concept, building some of the props, and hunting with the guns, you can see some of my previous videos. For more information about my books, blogs, and more than 825 videos, you can go to www.hoviesmith.com. To find out more about my Father of the Grooms novel, screenplay, and movie project, you can go to fatherofthegrooms.net. If you need to raise immediate money, you will learn how to select and start your own mini businesses or new businesses. Go to Create Your Own Job Security, which is available on Amazon.com and other book resources worldwide. Good hunting and good eating from the outdoors. Goodbye and God bless. See you in the movies.